We're getting close. A few more pieces. Try that trick again. See if I can do it just with my hands. It's kind of like a feel as you're pushing it down. See, that snapped right on in. Now, depending what kind of snap-on floor you get, it might not be this easy. That's why you're going to have to use that paddle. Tap it in like I showed you. We're right up against the sliding glass closet door. And I just snapped this piece in here. And now, let's talk about this for a minute. What would have happened if I couldn't have snapped that in? How would I have pushed that in? Because, you know, I have my tool here, but I wouldn't want to put it there and beat on it. And the other little piece I had for the end wouldn't fit because it doesn't fit in there right. So I've got a scrap like this. And what I would have had to have done was cut, see, this is the finished end that slots into there, okay? So, you know, it would fit in like that. But let's just say that you couldn't put this last piece in. So you got this piece, you'd have to rip this down, just a little piece here. Then you would snap that into there, and it would go up to about like that. Then you put that on there and tap it on in. And then you pull that little piece out. See, this little piece here would be right there. Then you can pull that back out and get ready to put your last piece in. So there's lots of little tricks along the way. So save your scrap because you might need it. Now you might ask, couldn't I just take this piece, open up the sliding closet door, put that in and beat on this back side? Yeah, you probably could do that. It's going to kind of mess that up. You don't really care about that, but I guess you could do that. But here's the other thing I want you to consider. This might be a wall. You might not have a closet here. It might just be a wall. So I wanted you to catch the tip I was telling you about. Rip this down, snap it in there, have enough room to put this in here, and tap it home. Well, I've almost got this floor done. Now, here's what I've got left here, and it tapers down smaller. And here's the little piece I ripped off of the very first piece that we put in. Remember, I saved that, and I've got that little groove. Now, I just want to show you what would have happened. You see, I wasn't sure if there was going to be enough room here. And my trim that I'm going to get might cover that. But again, it might not. I might have to have this out this way just a little bit further. I'm not quite sure yet. So that's why I ripped this off, because I wasn't quite sure. I didn't want to get up to this point and then find out I was going to be a 1/4 inch too short of this area here, because I've got a little piece of threshold here that's going to hang over this edge, and then I want to, hopefully it's going to die right into this without hitting the bottom of the sliding glass door. Now, if it hits the bottom of the sliding glass door, I could take a piece of wood like this and cut it, but I couldn't cut it tight to this. I would have to leave it short by 5/16 in case this floor ever grows. So then I'd have a little strip there of carpet showing. And, you know, that's a possibility too. I really don't want to do that though, so I'm glad I ripped this off. And that way I've got some options. If I could use this, great, I will. But if I can't, I've got more full-length pieces that I can rip a little bit wider and make this work once I have my threshold trim. Let's take a look down here. Slide this over. And see, I I could end up using one of these pieces right here because I know I would have to cut this back a little bit to get that trim in there. Okay, so this will work on this side. Remember when I measured it, it was a shorter measurement over there than it was on the left-hand side of the sliding glass door? That's because this room is not square. And you gotta think about all those types of things before you start your project, because I might not have had enough room here. And now, you know, I do have enough room on this end, so I can still use this piece. No harm, no foul. But over to the left further, I might not be able to use another piece like this. I've got 3 strips just like this. The next strip I may have to use out of a different piece of wood. So I'm glad I did that. Now let's take a look at this door opening. And that right there, that might work right here too. But I'm not quite sure yet. Because when I get that threshold trim, I need to make sure that it doesn't stick out beyond the other side of the door. And depending how wide that piece of trim is, it may not cover this edge. So I may have to take another piece and come across here and notch it out a little bit and then back in and over and do something, because I need to make sure that this threshold piece fits. And you see how close I would have been had I not ripped this off? Had I not ripped that off, and if I had to put that threshold in here, and if I had to add on a 1/4 inch of wood or 3/8 of wood, that would have been awful. That would have been really tricky to notch that in and then hope that that groove never loosened up because it's such a small little piece. Okay, I guess I'm ready to go to the store, get my threshold pieces, and come back and see how we're going to finish this up. I want to show you one more thing quickly on here. Let's say that we had a last piece up here, and we got this piece in here like that, and we need to add on a 1/4 inch. Now, you may think you just measure over a 1/4 inch from this finished edge and cut it off, but when you look on the back side, this trim has to fit all the way inside that groove. And you've got right there 3/8 of an inch. So if you had to put a 1/4 inch on there, this may not even snap into place and hold properly because you're going to cut the groove off on the back side. You know, if you rip that right there, you're not going to have anything for that to fit in. Then that piece is just going to be free floating on there, and that's the last thing you want on that last little piece, because people walk on that, it's going to loosen up, and pretty soon you're going to have a gap there between that and the little threshold piece, because once we put the threshold on, we still have to attach the threshold in such a way so that this can expand out. You know, when this gets moisture in it, just from regular air, and if it bridges out this way, it has to slide underneath the threshold. So that threshold's going to have a lip about a 1/2 inch or maybe 5/8 of an inch, to where it's going to be shy of this edge. And that's why I'm glad that I did some pre-thinking about this, and I ripped this piece, so now I've got some options over here. Very important when you come to doors, you figure that out before you get to here, and then you say, uh-oh, how am I going to fix that? So now, since I have this, I may not end up using it here, but since I have it, I'm going to snap that in. And I'm going to leave that in there until I come back with the threshold, because that will protect this edge right here. If I just left that out like that, and if somebody wasn't careful and they rolled something over here or hit this with something, they could put a gouge in this nice finished edge. And then when you put your next piece on there, you're going to say, oh, there's a mark, there's a mark, there's a mark. So when you get up to something like this, put in a finished little piece, a protector piece, like that. And now we don't care if anybody rubs up against that, do we? Okay? So think about your project.